All right. Okay. So you want to click on this button, right?
Yes.
And you have chosen the ID. This is your ID, right? But then you're saying expat. You want to use expat, but then you're like basically, I guess this one should work because you got the expat probably from the web, right? So this expat looks correct to me, but a ID is supposed to be unique. A ID meant for uniqueness, right? So the developers, when they assign an ID, they know that it should be unique. So if that is the case, we should probably use the ID instead of using the XPath. Now, if you copy the ID and you want to know if the ID is unique, because remember, anytime you automate, if let's say the same ID assigned to two different elements, then it will not work, right? So how do you make sure that it's not assigned to two different elements? You take
Yeah.
the
So,
ID and you put a hashtag and you then search it from right here, and you see one of one and it found it highlight the code and it highlighted the component. So then you copy this and now you can go back to this one right here. I'm gonna paste it right here. And since you're using ID for this one, you can just go ahead and replace this. Okay, so now these two lines will work for sure. Now the next thing is you're selecting. So you're using select type, so that this is correct, 45. And you want to, okay, so once you click on this, let's see. I'm gonna click it and I'm just going line by line here.
so 1 second there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me click on it. It's nothing is happening. Okay, let's see. Probably slow. Let me click on that again.
1 second. Yeah. 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can see.
Okay. Okay.
You see now?
Yeah, no, I can see it. I'm just trying to click the okay, there we go. Okay, now I can see it. Okay. So once so remember, it has to align with what you see on your screen. Once you click on continue, the next thing that I can see is entering your email, right? But
Yes.
what you are doing is after clicking on that continue button, the next thing you're going into a drop down, so it doesn't really make sense. The other thing is that not only drop down, this is a different frame. This is not the same. This is no longer the same. You see, this is one and this is a pop-up, right?
Yes.
So now how do you handle like a pop-up? So I'm gonna just go ahead and inspect this to see what it is that I'm dealing with first. So if I go all the way up and I can see this is a browser itself. This is like a separate pop-up, right? So now I have to use something in order to move into this one, because my Selenium is right now focused on this browser, right? How do I
Yes.
tell Selenium to go into this browser, right? So the next thing you need to do is that I'm gonna go ahead and Google it for you, because we're gonna use a lot of Googling at work too, right? So Selenium, move to window, right? Let's say pop-up, whatever, pop-up or okay, how to handle pop-up in Selenium. That is one. So pretty much I would say move to the new open window, and then how to switch to the new browser window, right? So this is, to me, this is a browser window. This is not a pop-up, because pop-up doesn't happen like this. Pop-up do not have like the Chrome outline and all that stuff. So first thing first, I'm going to use I'm going to go ahead and do the Google search, right, on how to move into the new one. And let's go ahead and see what is the case, and somebody will have an answer. So as you can see, you have to first store the current window handle. So this is basically giving you how many windows are available at this point. And then you have to switch to the new window that is open. So switch to the new window open. This is just comment for us to see. But as you can see, there is a method is being used called switch to, and you're going into the new window, right? And once you move into the new window, only then you can enter the email address and password. So now once you go ahead and do that, it will automatically close, but Selenium still cannot focus on the previous window that you're supposed to go back. So then you'll have to switch back to original browser, the first browser. Okay. So the good thing is this code is going to work as is. You don't even need anything. So I'm going to copy this Command C. And then, okay, so once that is done, so I'm going to have to add this here, Control V. So this is first, you're getting the latest window, and then you're also using driver. That's good. And then the next one is perform click operator that opens new window. So this has to be before the click, right? Okay, so this one has to be before the click that will open that window, right? And then so now Selenium already knows what is the current window. This is basically to know window before even opening up the new one. Okay, so just think about how it makes sense, right? We telling Selenium, hey, remember the current window. This is the current window that we're in. As soon as it clicks, it opens up a new window. So now we know the difference between current window and then the new window. Do you agree?
Current window and
So, okay. So basically before you click on continue with Google, right?
yes.
This is the browser, right? This is the current browser. Okay. Now, what we just told Selenium is that, hey, store basically the current browser. So it says Selenium remembers this is your current browser. Okay.
Yes.
As soon as you click on it, it opens up another browser, right? Which is this.
Yes, another new window.
Yeah, new window. So now Selenium can now differentiate between this one and this one because it already remembers that
Yes.
this current browser. Okay. All right. So the next thing is that we already did the second one. Okay. The third one is to switch to the new open window. So I'm going to Command C, and we're going to run this to see if it works. So then we're going to move on to the new one before we can type anything. So we just moved into the new window. Now that we moved into the new window, we can perform whatever we want. And this is just telling us, right? And we can close that at the end. So now we want to enter like your email address here. So go ahead and inspect this. Okay, if this wasn't a new tab, I wouldn't even get this. So that's good. So at least I know that it should work. So now it's gonna be, okay. So this is, it's called, okay. This has, okay, name. This has
Email.
ID is right there, identifier ID, right? So I can probably use this actually. So
ID.
Command C. I'm gonna just do a test to be sure. And hashtag in front of that, and boom, that's good.
Oh, no.
Copy and then go back. So now remember, with this line of code, we're already in the new open window. Okay. So now I can say driver dot find element. So now if I say go ahead and find element by ID, it will do it. Okay, so that's your ID. Hashtag needs to be removed, and this was just for test. And then I can say dot send keys, and I'm gonna run this to see if it enters, right? So whatever, like sample123@gmail.com. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. That's the first thing we should do to make sure that we're on the right track, and then we can go ahead and do the remaining.
And if we have commented it, so it can.
Yeah. So I'm gonna comment this. So these are commented out, and all right. So go ahead and run this. Let's see. Okay, so it failed. I need to see why that's the case, and then
Yeah, Bhaiya, I said, look, like the same problem I faced yesterday. Look, find element.
Mhm,
There is the
mhm.
orange color underline.
Method is link text. Selector is sign in. But then your find element is the problem. So I'm gonna check something because maybe this is your framework related. So I'm gonna go to your external libraries real quick, and then I want to see something, right? And then also maybe I'm gonna build your Maven there, so it should download anything we're missing. So uncaught error, something is like okay. So if I click on this, okay, build, okay, it's done. Okay, let's see. So you got Maven, you got, where's your Selenium?
Yeah, can I show you?
Oh, it's right here. Yeah. Okay. I can see, but then I don't know if you got the right version. So let me go ahead and yeah, this looks different. So let me go into this. All right. So the next thing we can look at is, so you got that. Selenium Java 3.1. Okay. That's fine. This is also fine. Cucumber, JUnit, Cucumber. I thought you were missing Selenium. Okay. JUnit is there. Okay. Selenium Java. Okay. I may just upgrade your Selenium, but let's see. That is something that I will be doing, but let's go into your Indeed. Class is Indeed. Okay, that's fine. The class name is good. Okay, this is your package. UI selectors no longer used. That's fine. Import is by, okay, so I'm gonna remove the import, some of the import to then, okay, so WDM WebDriver Manager. I'm just gonna remove some of this import and then I'm gonna fix it when they are read. So like, see, maybe you got a wrong import, you know? So this was a driver manager. Import this, okay. The only thing is that every time it wants to run, find like somehow no such element. And please look at the, so I'm gonna go ahead and look at this. Okay, exception, Selenium exception. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, right? Control C. And I need to like just do a small research to make sure that this is not a new kind of issues that we don't know how to deal with, because I never seen this type of issues.
No, Bhaiya, actually, I'm facing last 2 or 3 tests the same problem. Yesterday, I show you another one, and today I did this, and I faced the same problem.
Okay. So it seems like somebody else had the same problem. So we say unable to locate element throwing in blah, blah, blah. No such exception in test in G. Okay, so he's having the same issue as you are. So now let's see what was the fix. You should wait for the page load after click on a button. So the right code is there. Okay. Is that the case? Because, okay. So maybe we just gonna ask for, okay, let's see. I'm gonna put 5 seconds just to see this is for temporary. Okay, let's see. So notice something is happening, right? You went to the browser, but the browser didn't even go to the URL, right? So I guess I should have look at this first, right? So before the test tag, you have before test, right? Where is it? Before test right here. You created a driver, okay? And then you really, for this test, okay. It's another issue now. Now I found out the issue, okay. So you see like how before test you created the driver, right? It's good, but you didn't tell the driver to go anywhere because each test is individual, right?
Yes.
For these tests, you didn't tell to go anywhere at all, right? For these tests, you did. For this one, these tests, notice like the opening and closing, this belongs to only one single test, so it's not running, it's not already there, right? So now, if you copy this line and go into your test that fails right now, it should be good to go, right? So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and running. Open and go to Indeed, and then let's see what's next. 5 seconds wait, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on this, opened up, and then
Thank
okay.
you. So my so every time if we create a new test, we have to put the again driver .get or URL.
Yes, because the reason why you have to do this is because before test and after test, right? Before test will run once, and after test is run once before this test. Now this guy is separate entity. This is like, think like this is a separate pool, right? It has no relation with these tests, right? These are individual tests. They don't have any relation, but these guys do have relation. They just run before. So now if you know that your tests, all of your tests supposed to be in indeed.com, then you can actually take this and add it to your before tests right here after this line, then it will do it for all of them. Okay, so that was your issue.
Yeah, I'm confused that because first time I did all of the one test, and that time is okay, but I'm confusion about the result. I saw there is a one test pass. Then I'm confused. I did a lot of things, but assertion and also compare, but I didn't get any feedback from report. I saw only one pass. That's why I'm confused. Then I try to do separate test. Then I'm clear that one test pass, one test fail. Julbhai, actually, TestNG, what is the benefit about the TestNG? What kind of benefit we get the TestNG? For example,
the benefit that you're getting here is that now you can have separate code. So think like a block. If you think like this is a block, starts from here and ends here. So you can make different blocks. The test will be a separate block, so the report will know that this is the test that it needs to report about. It shouldn't care about what happened before and after. These are set up, right?
Yes.
So it allows you to organize your test, and it allows the test to look better, nicer, right? So that's why we did like a framework in the beginning without the TestNG, and it just it's just a single file with everything in it. And we cannot separate it out, which is test and which is not test, because in a test, maybe the first few line will be just setting up the driver. So you don't want to include that into your test, right? So it's just to make your test look better, readable, and then also easy to maintain. These are some benefits.
I need to clear, because I try to know how can I get the clear report, because first time I did one test and I did lots of coding, and then I'm confused. I did assertion several times. I did assert, but I didn't get any. Is that comparison is correct or wrong? And pass 0 1 pass. I'm confused. That's why I did.
That's fine. Yeah, so a few things, and from experience, I'll tell you guys, when you write new test, and even this happens to me too, and I'm dealing with a brand new application, they're asking me to automate, and it takes me a lot of time to just find out if it's going to work, if it's not going to work, and I'm just trying one thing, another thing, and trying multiple things, right? And then finally it works, and after that I just learned that new thing, um basically why that worked, and kind of investigated it a little bit and understood why that worked. So the next time if I'm dealing with the same problem, now I will take less time, right? So in the beginning, when you guys automate and you guys take a long time, it's okay, because that's what it's supposed to be like that, because you will face a lot of problem, and when you resolve one problem at a time, that's when you learn. If you didn't face any problem, then you most likely will not learn. Yeah, memorization or anything shouldn't be working anyway, because when you automate, is something different. It's not going to be something that we already tried in class or something. So
Line number 14, line
mhm.
number 14, sorry, 40, sorry, line number 40,
40.
40,
Okay.
40, yeah,
Okay.
40, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Public void, throw, and where do you get this?
So these, like, if I remove it, let me tell you. So if I remove it, you see how sleep is now upset,
Oh, okay, okay,
and it
okay.
says, okay, at exception. So if you
Okay,
want to do a manual weight, this is like manual weight. This is called static weight.
okay,
Regardless of anything, it will wait 5 seconds, period, right? This is in milliseconds. So 5,000 milliseconds is equal to 5 seconds. And so it will wait 5 seconds no matter what, right? If world gets destroyed tomorrow, it will still wait 5 seconds.
yeah.
Now there is better weights. So maybe this is the time that I can talk about some weighting. So instead of using this at work, we try to avoid this kind of weight. But this is the last resolution, the last thing, meaning nothing else works, then we will just go ahead and put this to make sure it works. So in order to avoid this kind of weight, we use explicit, implicit, and fluent weight, right?
Yes.
Explicit wait is when you wait for the specific element, right? You say, before you click, I want to wait for this guy. So you're going to say, you're going to tell the driver to wait for this, right? And
Yes.
then continue to go and click. And then you have implicit wait. Implicit wait is that you tell your driver basically to say, okay, anytime something goes wrong, it doesn't matter what it is, then wait 30 seconds, up to 30 seconds, right? So that now you have implicit and explicit. One of the interview question is that, do you use implicit and explicit together? You're going to say no, because that creates problem, because one overrides the other, and it's just not the right result that you will get. So we don't use them together. When you don't need the explicit, then we don't use it, but explicit is as needed base. So if you running your test, somehow it failing on, let's say, line number 45, because your test was too fast and sign in button didn't load fast enough, then you put an explicit wait right here. Now explicit wait didn't work, no other weights is working, then you just put this manual wait. Manual wait is the last thing that you will do, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It's like no other way. So if your lead, your manager, whoever, they're going to look at your code and be like, oh, why would you put this? We don't want this. Then you're going to say, well, I tried the other weights and none of them worked, so I have to go with this one. And that's it. All right, so let's move on to the next problem. From here, you'll be fine, right? You have a missing
Yes.
piece. Here, you have to be able to go back to, so once you enter this and the password, you'll have to be able to go back to the previous browser. So let me see what was the code is. I'm going to give you the code so you don't get stuck. You know what? I'll just keep this, I would say, all right, this one, Command C. I'm going to just go ahead and give this link here. So then if when you continue to write tests, you can basically go to this link and find out how to do this already. Like, so once you enter this and the password and click next, you will then have to move back to this driver, like your original driver. Okay. And then you can continue. Otherwise it's not going to work. You see, switching back to driver is just this line. You just have to add this line. Okay. So you have to add this line after you log in and everything to make it work. All right, so let's go into the next issue. And okay, so who had the next issue?
But yeah, one more thing.
Yeah.
I think it will be help for all of our classmates.
Mhm.
Can you please show me how can I click the check button? I have a code here. If you want, I can show you. So
Okay.
I think it will help for this one.
Okay.
Um,
Checkbox, right?
Checkbox, yes.
Okay. All right, so you want to check yes, right? Is that what you're doing here? Or is this the last line?
Yes.
Which this is
Yes.
the one. Okay.
Select the general repair. For example, we have the lots of option for service level in any kind of customer service. There is a lot of options, so we need to check over there. We need to check what kind of service we need. I want to check this button. I want to know how to write the code for check button.
Okay, so I guess like line number 72, I'm just gonna try to understand what's happening here. Line number 72, you have a drop down, and on the drop down, you selecting yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so up to this much is it runs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go ahead and put a sleep here just to bring it up to this much, and then so I can see what's going on, and then we can move from there.
Okay.
All right, thread.sleep. And again, sometimes I use manual wait just for debugging, meaning like I just want to wait here maybe like 50 seconds, or maybe like, you know what? Just want to wait here like more than 50 seconds actually. So just enough time to look what happens after line number 73. So then I can do what I need to do. So let's see. All right, let me go ahead and run this. Okay, something seems to be happening. All right, so the first thing is that you have, let's see. So now I'm going to look for the error message, right? So anytime you have any issues, you have to read. So it says element should not be select, but it was an input. So whenever you said you want to do something, okay, so let me see the line number where you did this. So line number 72, I'm going to go into that line. Okay, line number 72 is telling you it's not a drop down. Okay, it's an input box. So what do you do in an input box? You basically, so let me see. Okay.
I know that this is not a Dropbox, but it's a checkbox. That's why
So
I
this is
never
where,
did. Yeah, I never
okay.
did, but I try to writing the code before the Dropbox.
Okay.
See the
So,
Dropbox.
so
Try to
there
match
is
the code.
no problem. There is two ways to click the checkbox. Got it. So that line we have to fix. So if you are just a person and human and you click in here, you can checkbox, right? That means Selenium
Yes.
can also just use the .click method. Okay, whatever you can do as a human, Selenium should be able to do the same, because Selenium was created to mimic human in order to do test, right? Because ultimately we're going to be using the application. So imagine that our program is able to click here, but then human can't, then it's a problem, right? So that's why if we can click on here, that means Selenium is also be able to click. So that's one way for you to click on checkbox. The other way to click on a checkbox is, so Selenium, if you do checkbox, right? There is a method, handle checkbox in Selenium. I don't want to go into that. I just want to look for a short answer. Maybe this one. Okay, so web element is used and not that. Okay, there we go. I actually like this website. So now if you go in here for checkbox, as you can see, this guy is using click, exactly what I said, right? But I know there is another way to do the same thing. Okay, let's see. So they're using click method. They're also using the send keys to put the special keys, like the keyboard. But I want to see if there is a way to handle checkboxes. 1 second. Yeah, it looks like Selenium is only able to use click method. So you see checkbox method click.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is, so let's say which one you want to click check.
First one, yeah. General.
First
Yeah.
one. Okay. So now I'm gonna inspect. And then, so the reason why I'm kind of like searching and saying, oh, is Selenium is able to do checkbox through click and any other way is because remember, I use more than one kind of automated tool. The other tool which is close to Selenium, which is basically think like a step brother of Selenium. They have a method named checkbox that can be used, right? But in this case, Selenium can just go ahead and click. So they probably removed, or they probably don't need the extra one. So now you are using the name. So go ahead and click the whole name, and you see the value is yes. Once it's clicked, then it will automatically put the yes. So I'm gonna I'm gonna take the whole name actually. So 1 second, if I can copy this. Okay, the computer is a little bit slow, but not the computer, I think maybe the network. Oh, look at that. 1 second. Okay, now it's gone. Control Z. No, okay, I'm gonna refresh this. So somehow I removed the checkbox. Okay. All right. In the meantime, next person, just be ready. We're gonna go to you next. Copy. So this was the name, and you don't need all this stuff like this, all of it basically. So you can
I don't know how can I write the code. I try to follow the previous.
Find element by, and then you can say name, right? Dot name.
Just simple code.
It's simple, right? It's simple. So if this doesn't work for some reason, then you cannot blame the click guy, right? Yeah. You can blame this guy right here, because now you can see some stuff going on inside, right? This thing may be causing the issue. So then we'll have to think about XPath. Maybe we'll want to use XPath rather than the name right here. So let's go ahead and run this just to make sure that it's all good. And why is it red?
Subset is still.
Okay. Nevada Insurance Java. Okay, I just want to see why this is red. 1 second. Did I do anything?
But yeah, here is the last click and semicolon.
Yeah, semicolon is missing. Okay. So if you guys ever use JavaScript, think like it's a child from Java, and it's very similar to what Java looks like. And the new JavaScript, they basically remove the need for semicolon. So if you put the semicolon, it will be happy. If you don't put the semicolon, it will still be fine. The code doesn't complain.
They ignore whatever semicolon is.
Yeah. So hopefully maybe the next version of Java. Yeah, so it worked.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm waiting. How do I click? Because most of the website, you have to click something, yeah?
Yeah. So checkbox, you can click, link, you can click, even the text box, you can click. Sometime, like you'll have to click on the text box before you can write anything, because maybe it has some special, event, right? So let's say if you as a person go into the website and click and something happens, like this color changed, and you want to test the color change, then Selenium, if it types, it will not change the color, because you as a human clicked on it, but with Selenium, you're not clicking on it, you're just typing on it. So then what you will have to do to simulate that, you'll have to first click, then you can type. So first you have to use click method, then you'll have to use send keys. So there will be times where you'll have to basically use more than just one into a single field to do whatever you need to do. So as it's going to be as needed based. So whatever you need it for, you're going to be using it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next issue. I think Mavish is next, right?
If she can stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, sorry, not that.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and stop. You know what? I can probably ask you. Stop remote support. Okay, that's it. And then. Yeah, and then like next class, my next class, just I'm gonna go more and more into automation. So, you know, these things that you are doing is definitely you're in the right track. And you know, if you ask me, I can say at least you will be able to move around at work, meaning you'll understand, you'll be able to do some things like few test cases, maybe easy ones. But you'll need a little bit more practice before joining. But you're in the right track. Okay, so what's okay, so this is gonna be all right. So you have a question mark. Is this a Windows? Okay, all right. So with the question mark doesn't really matter, right? Because the only thing, if you're a Windows user, you have to make sure is that .exe is there, right? Because that's something that you needed. If you didn't have .exe, then I would think that there is a problem, right? So the question mark has nothing to do with, remember, this is an IDE. You are the only one, because you're a developer, because you're a test developer, you're the one who's seeing this, right? But
Okay.
when you push this code and everybody else is going to see it in GitHub, they will not see the question mark. They will see this is a file, this is an executable file. So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, because when I was working as a group, you know, with my other
Mhm.
teammate, she doesn't have that. And, you know, when she ran the test, her test went well,
Mhm.
and mine giving the error. So I basically deleted the everything, and then I restarted. You know, I thought I'm doing something wrong, and it still give me the question mark. So I thought that's the issue, you know, because we were working on the Selenium WebDriver.
Mhm. Okay, so then let's do a fresh pull, right? So we'll have to download again. What is this? Okay, so let's see the error message first, right?
Because my version is 100.04896.
Okay. Okay, I'm
And
gonna
it's Windows 32.
okay, so I'm gonna explain one thing before moving into the fixing. So sometime when you copy and paste it here, it corrupts the file. So maybe that's something happened, because it happened to me. So if you copy or if you drag and drop and just put it in here, it may just change the file type, or it may just change what's in the file. And that's
What I did. I drag, I open
Yeah.
it, the other window, and then I
Mhm.
drag it to save it over here under the drivers.
Yeah. So if that's like not, this is not something that everybody will have problem with, right? Because sometimes that's Windows problem, right? Meaning like if Mac is pretty consistent, if one Mac user have a problem, then all the Mac user will probably see the same problem. But Windows, I don't know. It's different version. Everybody has different things. So I would recommend when you see these kind of issues, you can locate where the framework BDD is, because this is in your C drive, right? You see right here.
Yes.
And then you go into that and then you drop it there directly rather than doing it here. Okay. So this would be one way to solve the problem. So let's see. First of all, again, anytime you get a driver, you will first make sure that, okay, let me cancel that and then go into your help and then go into about Google. So then you see you have 100, right? So now I'm going to say download Chrome driver. Okay, should still find it. Spelling not a problem. Okay. So now you have 100 right here. This is the one that you need.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah. And Windows 32 is fine. Even if you have 64-bit, it's still that they only have one, right, for Windows. So then you open it up and you see this right here. So now what I can do is maybe like right click and copy, and then I'll go into your C drive. And then I will find that, what is this? This is your driver. I'm trying to look for your project. Let me go into your thing first. Let me see exactly where that is. Is this the one? Okay. It's C drive user and then framework BDD. Okay, that's good.
So every time a window is going to be shows up on,
You're cutting off, so I don't know what you.
oh, sorry. I say every time and I'm going to open the new window, like a new project, that Chrome driver is going to be shows up on the new window too.
Mm,
Because that was the problem. When I opened the new window, I couldn't see that. So then I downloaded again.
mhm.
So my
Mm.
classmate said, Mavish, because you probably didn't download well, that's why, you had an issue.
Right, right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I'm assuming also, but I can't really say for sure. So what I'm going to do is see, I'm going to go ahead and replace, and instead of doing it through the IDE, I'm going to just do it through here. So this is what we just got, right? I'm going to
Yes.
drop it here and then replace the other one. So replace the file in the destination. And now we have a new one. Hopefully this will resolve your problem. So now let's do a refresh. I don't know if it has a refresh. Let's see. Reload from disk. Okay, so the question mark I'm not too worried about, right? So let's try to run a test
Okay.
and see where it is.
And I have another issue too. If I run the test with the side buttons, it worked. But when I go up, up in the bar and I click run,
Mhm.
it doesn't work. It
Yeah,
give me
there is-
the,
Yeah, there is two different type, right? When you go up and run there, you're running with the configuration. So you'll have to click on edit and fix that configuration. When you run it from here, this is a different setting.
so how I can fix it? I tried, but it didn't work for me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. So let's fix this issue first. Let's see first it runs,
Okay.
and then yeah, let's find out if it runs first, and then we go from there. And I'm noticing something here. One thing is that your steps are not being recognized for some reason. So if there is a recommended plugin in the bottom, just go ahead and download this configure plugin,
Okay.
and then Cucumber, you're gonna need it, right? Because that's what you're writing your test.
Yes.
And then you just have to wait for a second. It should probably fix things. All right, and second. Move that to the side. Oh, what did I do? Okay. Okay, so that's good. Because I'm trying to see if you see how your steps are highlighted. It shouldn't be.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
it should be. Let me see, downloads, pre-built, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's good. I will click on this one. And then I want to click on this highlights. Okay, so you're definitely missing some plugin. Maybe you're missing Gherkin. So I'm going to go ahead and download some plugins in here. And then go into project setting. Go into plugin. And then here I can see what is installed, right? So like, I think one of the plugins should be Cucumber, right? So we have it. We got the Cucumber, Scala, Cucumber this. I want the Gherkin. Gherkin, like, you know what Gherkin means, right? When you write given, when, and then.
Yes.
That is a Gherkin syntax. So you got that installed, that's fine. You have the Cucumber also. Okay, so both of them are fine. So we probably need to restart this. So I'm gonna go ahead and.
Then she needs to do the step definition, like, how the bulb shows and you create the step definition.
I'm assuming she already has that.
Doesn't
Step
have
definition.
it because
Oh,
I can see it here on the bar. It doesn't show the step definition.
okay. Let me see if anywhere she wrote the steps, just in case. I'm trying to not assume that she didn't do that, but that should be an obvious thing, right? So, okay. You wrote the first line. It says, given I am on a JetBlue homepage, right?
Right.
Where is the code?
I don't know.
All right, so the first thing you're gonna click on this, okay, you're gonna click on that light bulb. You're gonna say create a definition, right?
Okay.
If you say all, then everything will be created at once. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do one at a time. So I'll click this. You create a new file. You're gonna click OK, and now you have you pretty much have this. And let's see, this guy is upset. So create a given my blah blah blah. Okay. All right. So I will revert this because this is so the ID is not doing the right thing, right? So what I'm going to do next is I definitely created something here, my definition, remove this. Okay, I can keep it. I'm gonna run this real quick, and one thing is gonna happen is gonna give me a sample code. It's called dry run. Okay, dry run means like you run your test after just writing it. This is like basically this is like proof of concept. It's not gonna work. It's just there. You just wrote it for the
Okay.
then you see how it's giving you all the steps, right? So
Right.
so
Step
now
skip.
it's telling you that it's missing the code, right? And it's saying, okay, here what I was expecting. So I'm going to copy this copy. I already have the step definition, so I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. And now okay. Oh, okay. I know what happened. Okay, 1 second. All right. Cancel. And then so you see this is your step, public my step def. This is the class. And so we're gonna have to remove this thing right here, the whole thing, and then go ahead and paste this, right? And import class, boom. So we have imported the given. And now if you go back in here, and you see, you just see something different, right? This time, number 6 is now not highlighted. So that's good. The next thing you need to do is you got to remove this sample code. It's just a placeholder. And then the first thing you need to do is that you want to open your driver. So create a driver maybe, right? So you're going to say web driver is equal to, let's say you just give it a name, whatever name you want. So driver, and I'll later maybe take this outside of the class so it will be easy to use everywhere else. And then new Chrome driver.
And if I get the highlights, that's mean there is an issue, right?
So Java always, basically Java gives you the highlight right away, but you have to type the whole thing and then realize if it's still like, oh yeah, no, the other highlights, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because
you-
I deleted, I got it, and then it didn't work. And then I
Mhm.
deleted everything and redo it, but I couldn't figure out, what I'm doing wrong, why I'm keep getting these highlights and error message.
Mhm. So now you want to go to JetBlue. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the URL. Command C. Oh, sorry. I'll click on that. Going back to your test. Command V. Oh. Okay, because I'm using Mac, it's basically cleared all. Maybe where is the
property, bhaiya?
Hmm?
Here, where is the system.set property?
Yeah, we're gonna do that because like I would like to also mention that after seeing, because the thing is when you see the error, only then but if she has the driver in the right location, it shouldn't give us the error, but we definitely need that set property. I'm trying to paste something. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. So now if I run it just like, Hasina mentioned, it will probably now show an issue. So notice like this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out. So if you want to comment out hashtag, and then we're going to fix those in a bit. Right click and run only this scenario. And let's see what happens now. All right, and it's upset. So now this is something that I always try to show you guys because this happens. It says the driver path executable must be set by the Chrome driver, right? So that means you have to show where the driver is. Your driver is right here. The Chrome that you're currently using, that's a browser, right? The driver is the one that will open the browser, right? So the driver is actually the controller of the browser. So now we have to tell where that driver is, right? So there is a shortcut, I think control. Okay, so if you do control B here, it should take you directly. Okay, there we go. So for Mac is command B, and for Windows control B, and now you're here automatically. So just remember that. The next thing, before you create the driver, you have to say where the driver is, right? So you're gonna say system.set property, and it takes two things. Okay, and then this takes two different things, right? And I'm just, for the time being, I left it empty. So the first thing is the driver, right? So we're saying, oh, sorry, Control C, and go ahead and paste it right there. Control Z, copy. And then Control V. And now we have to say where the actual driver is. The easiest thing you can do is just come here, right click, and then you can say, I want to copy something. Copy. No, not the copy, the thing. So copy the path, right? So right there, copy path. And now the content path should work, not the file name, but you have two different paths. One is content and this is absolute. Absolute is basically, it'll work fine for you, but not for your coworker because they don't have the same exact location, right? Okay. So you want to copy this and then go ahead and do Control V there, and that's what you have. I believe, okay, it should be actually fixing that, but okay, let's run it real quick.
Oh, yeah, we are missing the R, driver R.
R,
there is no R, yeah, R is missing.
Yeah, let's see. Something has driver, where?
Web driver, Chrome driver, driver. There is R missing. Here, line number 8.
Line number 8, okay. So
inside the double quotation, first part.
Oh no, that is by design. That's how it is, right? I'm just, oh yeah, okay, you're right. You see right there. Yeah. I didn't copy the R. Okay, cool. So now I was expecting the IDE to recognize that this is Windows and it's supposed to fix the slashes, because for Windows it's like // I believe, but I'm gonna go ahead and run it anyway to see if it works. Okay, so if it open up the Chrome, then everything is fine.
I hope it does.
And then you went to JetBlue. Okay, good. Then because remember, every time it opens up a Chrome is 100% fresh, meaning it is built from scratch kind of quality you get, right? Okay. So that means this, even if you say I accept all cookie, it will ask you again. But if you are a real user, the actual customer, you will only see this once. But the reason why we see it all the time is because every time we open a browser, it thinks we are a new person because it creates it, right? It just basically doesn't remember anything that happened in the past. It only cares about the right now current session. And okay. Yeah, so that's why you're going to see this all the time. So you may want to first click on this and then move on to the next steps. This is not a, this is a pop-up, so you don't have to move on to the window. You can just go ahead and find the ID and click on it. But if this was a window, like another one with search and everything, then you would have to move on to that window, like whatever we did earlier. All right, with that said, do you need the remaining steps or you got it?
No, I already got it. I just had a problem with this
Okay.
because every time when we run the test, especially when I was doing group study, I
Mhm.
always get stuck on that. So that's why, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And just the other quick question, I don't want to take much time. The run button, is that really important? I have to, set up the top run button because every time I try to set it up, it's just give me the message and I couldn't understand,
Let's see, it should run now because now that, so the first time you run it right here, you see like now it's asking you, do you want to run it the last time the way you ran, or do you want to run it a new one, right? So new one, you need to tell how you want it. So if you click on this, it should run it again. 1 second, it should probably run it now. So it shouldn't be a problem. It remembers how you ran it the last time and it will run it like that. But you can
So
always choose to, so at work, the reason why you have a configuration for run, and it's not a simple thing. So if you right click, if you click here and it says edit configuration,
yes.
is because at work, it's not going to be simply click and run. You'll have to provide where you want to run. You will have to provide what browser do you want to choose, because there will be selection of browsers. So because your test is going to run browser like Chrome or Firefox, then you'll have to provide that information before you can run. So what you will do at work is that you're going to click on this, you're going to click on edit configuration.
Okay.
And then once you have that, you'll have to add that information right here somewhere. 1 second. Environment
Yeah,
variables.
that's the part where I got
right here.
confused.
Yeah. This is where you will add it and say browser is equal to this and things like that. But don't get scared, because when you join a company, there is no way, even if you have 20 years of experience, there is no way you should know this, right? Because this is something done. So like, you know how your framework is right now,
Right.
you can enforce other people, whoever's going to use your framework, to enter something, for example, browser is equal to Chrome. They have to put this in order to make it work. That means you are telling them, do you want Chrome or do you want Firefox? So there's no way that you will know this, even if you have years of experience. So you'll have to ask them and say, hey, I'm trying to run it and looks like it's asking for some things that I don't know. Can you show me what I'm missing? And that will be 120% legal for you to ask, right? You don't have to be worried. But when you join a company, you should never be afraid of asking questions anyway, right? Because nobody's gonna obviously you'll have more than just one coworker, right? If somebody is giving you kind of that kind of phase, then just don't even bother with this guy. Just work with the person who's going to help you. You're going to need the first 3 to 4 months just to learn how to run, how to be able to move around, how to be able to just know what is what in the framework. And only then you can start to write your test, right? So that's how it's going to be for automation person.
Okay.
Yeah, if you join a company and they said, oh no, you have to write automation like tomorrow, you can tell them, I am not even familiar with the framework. I'm not even familiar with the way the framework was designed, because this is your framework. You design it one way. I can choose to design another way. I can have, instead of main, another folder. I can rearrange the items within this framework. I can choose not to even use TestNG. I can choose not to even use Cucumber. So that's why any automation engineers, when they join a team, they have all the rights to get knowledge transfer. So KT, basically. So they will say KT, it's just short for knowledge transfer. That means somebody's going to sit down with you every day for the first 2 to 3 weeks and just simply go over the framework and tell you how to run it. So in that situation, what kind of question you want to ask? You want to know how to run it first, right? So that way you can later, when he's not around and you're by yourself, you can start to run this test and see how the application works, right? So this gives you an idea about the application, and this gives you an idea about the framework. The second thing you want to tell him, if I want to make any changes, What is the process? Because you made the change and you wrote a new test. How do you then push this code? How do they want? There is a process for that. So maybe that process something I will probably cover in more details in my next class. All right. So with that said, you have so now you have the time to do the remaining. I'm gonna just tell you something here. If you do Control B right here on the line, Control B, and go into the code, notice that the driver is inside of this method. Okay. So
Okay.
now if you create another step, this driver is not going to work. So I'm going to take it outside. Okay. I'm going to
Okay.
take it outside of the method. So I'm going to put it in class. I'm going to say web driver. So this is called instance variable, right? So
Okay.
driver is equal to driver and done. What I'm saying is, hey, I have a variable named driver without any assignments yet. I didn't put anything. It means nothing right now, but later I will put something as an assignment. And you're doing the assignment right here and saying, okay, driver is equal to this guy. So now if I have a new method, another steps, then I have access to this driver because it's outside. And now I can work and continue to use the driver in order to do find elements, in order to do other things. Okay.
Okay.
That's the last thing I wanted to show you. Okay. After that, all right. Anybody else, any problems or anything or resume
Yeah.
question?
So in Mahavish, you can show me one thing, like, let's say whenever we create a new project, so every time we have to create a driver folder, I mean, is there any way we can save that on the IntelliJ so that we can use it every time? I mean,
So yeah, so let me answer that question because, okay. So when you have your framework and this is your directory, right? This is one of the folder called driver, right? This whole framework you can share with your coworker, right? Now your coworker not only will get the framework, they will get the Chrome driver with it. Okay. And so because you're saving, this is already saving, right? You're already saving here. Is that the question?
No. So, okay, let's say this is one project. She is doing framework, BDD, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start a new project. Let's say my Maven second project. It's
Okay.
in a new window, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're using a new window, so that time also I have noticed that I have to create a driver folder and then copy the Chrome driver exe file and put it on that folder. So what I'm saying that instead of doing every time making a folder, is there any way on the IntelliJ that you can make a different folder where it is stored in the IntelliJ and then we just take it from there and drag it on the driver folder for every new project?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's something that you can do. For learning purposes, we're creating more than one framework, but for work, you will only have one because they don't want you to think about that way. They don't want you to create like 10 different frameworks because now they have to pay for maintenance. How are they paying? Is because your time is being spent to go in those frameworks and constantly working to fix things or maybe create new tests or whatever it is. So for that reason, they will be more favor of having a single framework, just one framework. Everybody is going to use the same framework. It's just that you have a feature file that has more, like, let's say 2 tests, and your coworker may have another feature file and he will create his tests, right? That's the way it's going to be in like real environment. For learning purpose, we're creating more than just one framework because this just gives us more and more, way to learn, and we're able to do from scratch. And so if you don't want to download again and again, you can actually just keep this even outside of the framework. But as long as you provide the right path, as long as you get the right path and put it into your system property right here, then you will be fine. It'll work.
So we
Okay,
can
so-
use the same thing on the new project as well.
Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
so let's say you created a new project, but remember the new project is not inside of this folder. This is a folder, right? Framework BDD.
Yes.
But then your Chrome driver is inside of the folder. So the new project that you will create you will have to get the absolute path, not just the relative path, right? You'll have to click on the path and you have to get the absolute in
Oh,
order to
okay.
make it work. Because the reason why we are able to work with relative root path is because this is already inside of this guy, right? Inside of the bigger
Oh,
folder.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So next issues we can do. Otherwise, we can do Q&A
I
questions.
have
No,
one small
I'm
question.
the third one, please.
No,
Okay.
no, I just have small one question.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't do
Okay,
anything.
let me stop sharing mine.
Sure, sure. Okay.
So in a ID, Selenium ID, so
Mhm.
we create project, different project.
Mhm.
So we need to open the project to go inside the ID. Without
Okay.
going to inside the ID, does it belongs to any other folder that in my computer that I can open the project?
Yeah. Definitely. Because the thing is that the ID you're talking about IntelliJ, right?
Yes.
Okay. So IntelliJ is basically, think like IntelliJ is a okay, so I'm gonna try to give you a good example. So think
Okay. Why I
when-
call you?
Mhm.
Why I tell you this? Like, oh, I did a big mistake. Like I uninstall my IntelliJ, then install again,
Mhm.
and I don't have any project.
No, it's in your computer somewhere. 100%. The project is gonna be in your. Do you have a Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Windows. Okay. So
And
if
the
you go
bad
into
thing
your.
is,
Yeah,
and the bad
go
thing is, I search everywhere, I don't find. Then what I did, I did Windows again.
Mhm.
So my C drive is clean.
Oh, so you cleaned it already, like, so we
Yeah.
can, so we can't even search it. Okay, so that's fine for the future, for like, I think you saw it when I did it for Maoish. What you need to do, like, let's say for some reason you're not able to find it, even if you don't know where the location is, you'll have to go to your C. Normally what the IDE does when you create a new project, it will put it in your C drive under your user, right? Whatever user you are. And then you'll have to then look through each folder. I mean, I don't know if Windows has a way to search it, but if you can search through all of the directory, but if this was a Mac, you can like just click on a magnifying glass, shows up on the corner, and you will be able to find exactly where the folder is. So what happens is every time you create a project, right? The IDE is not the one where it's saving. It's saving into your computer. The folder gets saved. When I say project, it's not like, it's nothing special. It's just the folders and files. Okay, just keep that in mind. So now the bigger folder, which is the project folder, and we call it root, right? That folder contains smaller files. Like, for example, you got the feature file, you got the Cucumber, you got the, Java file, all of these other files that is inside. Now the bigger folder will be saved into your computer. Therefore, everything inside of it will be also saved into your computer. The IDE is only responsible for viewing those in a way that you can actually work. It basically takes those folder and make it look nice and show it in a way for you to debug tests and write new tests. That's it. So IDE has nothing to do with it.
That
If
means
we delete
the
it from
project
the
is open through the
sorry.
IntelliJ.
Okay, so question, okay, one person at a time. So ask me again because I didn't hear you.
That's okay. Then I ruined everything.
you didn't ruin it. So think like this, right? If you deleted it, that's totally fine. Just create it again. It's gonna give you more
Yeah,
experience.
I need to create again.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay.
It'll just give you more experience. So see it that way. Don't see it as a negative. Any other question?
Yeah, so let's say if it is stored in the C drive and if you delete from there, so is it going to be deleted from IntelliJ? No, right?
No. So let's say somehow your IntelliJ doesn't even show. That means you probably removed it from IntelliJ, but your C drive will have it. But if you specifically right click and say I want to delete, then it will delete it from everywhere. Okay,
That's
so
the reason my computer says that out of space. I couldn't figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have out of space, that means like you got to delete some stuff. Just go ahead and delete. And then you can have more space for the new projects. If you have older projects and you feel like nothing important is there, then just go ahead and delete. you know.
I didn't know that it stores in the C drive.
No, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
All right. So let's go into the next. Anybody else have any automation
I
problem?
have.
Okay. So let me go ahead and send you a request so I can see your screen. Okay. All right. So let's look at the problem.
I have 2 projects. It's almost like very little. You just have to find out what my problem is. So this one, actually, this one runs very. Let me run it first, and then you will be able to see it.
Okay.
So up to here, I'm fine.
Mhm.
And then when I do the login,
Click.
like I always struggle with the elements. I know you already explained that, but I missed that part.
Mhm.
So if I click here and inspect.
Okay. So this is, you have to know if this is a button, even though it looks like to us, our human eyes is a button. We have to look at the code and see if that is a button or not, right? So now if I go ahead and select this element, let me see if I have control.
Have it or no?
Okay, it's probably slow. Okay, so now I go in here, hover it. If I hover it, it says input, right?
Mhm.
And so input is, it's not a type of, it's not a button type, but the good thing is we can use the value, we can use the name, we can use the type. We have 3 options for us to use. So let's say here in this page, I feel like the name login should be unique because there's nothing else I can see that has a login name, right? So I'm going to right click and copy that. And then you go into your, so you see user clicks on login button, you just do Control B, go into that, and you see where it says name, login, and it's click, right? But it's not working. Is that what you're saying?
No, yeah, it's not working.
Okay, so then there is possible explanation here because Selenium does have some issues. One of the issue with Selenium is that click doesn't give you complaint. Click will basically click on it, even if nothing happens, it will not give you a complaint. Okay, so that's the problem. So if it gave you a complaint, then we can fix it sooner than later. So let's see if it does give you, it did give you any sort of complaint. It didn't give you any complaint, right? That's the thing. So you're right here and it didn't click. Let me see if I do click on it. Okay, and then it's right there. Okay, so then I want to debug. I want to see, so possibly what you need is that maybe you have to wait for the login button to appear and then you want to click on it. So before you write 2 or 3 lines of code to wait for that element, I would just go ahead and simply put it asleep there. So I'm going to just try it first. This is like almost, and obviously we don't want the manual thread.sleep. This is for just debugging, and this is like just to see if the timing is the issue. Maybe the timing because it's just too fast, right? Selenium is way too fast for it. So now if we run it and it works perfectly and it clicks on it, then we know that timing was the issue, right? So now we have to come up with a solution to fix the timing. So let's go ahead and run it again and see. Click on login. What? Okay, I'm gonna go to you're saying driver, find element by, right? Okay. Oh, it's waiting the 5 seconds. Okay. Wait. Okay, that's fine.
The locator which I found like name, is that right? Or
Yeah, you find it right. You found it right. But then I'm gonna like probably try another locator real quick. I don't know why this is not working. And then also, okay, this is by the way, this is not a real website because this was designed to help you write tests.
yeah, it's a demo.
So yeah, I think this is for like another tool. They created this for another tool.
I got it from the YouTube, one of the YouTube videos. So
Yeah. So if I right click and then I'm gonna just, so if nothing else works and you want to see if the problem is because you just didn't put the right thing, then just ask the browser for a locator. So I'm going to ask the browser to give me something. So copy locator. And so I asked the browser to give me a locator and I'm going to put it in here. So it gave me all this stuff. So notice like it's just a long one. So this was when I copied it, this is a CSS selector, right? So when you copy the locator, is actually a CSS locator. And I'm gonna get rid of this because it wasn't help, right? It didn't really do anything. So we tested that out. And then if I saved it, okay, before I should have saved it, but anyway, so if you click on run and it works, then we know exactly why this happened. Is the locator was the issue. If okay, there we go.
worked.
It worked. So now, here's the thing, right? I'm gonna try to give you guys some peace of mind here, because when you automate and something's supposed to work the way you were taught, or maybe you saw somebody else working on YouTube, or maybe you read something and it doesn't, don't get a hang of it. Just try other things, because when the other people tried, it's probably a different way, right? It's probably a different website or something. But in this case, the reason I can tell you why it didn't work with the name is because we have this input, sorry. So it wasn't, first of all, it was not classified as a button, right? It was input means a text field. So they made this specific button as text field. And so they classified that as text field in the code, right? So that's the input. Then what they did is they put it under a model. This is another, basically it's under the username. It's not, it's inside of username. That could be the reason, right? As you can see, this is the hierarchy, right? We're saying inside of username, right? We have 3 different element of P, right? The kind of element is P kind of element, right? And we're saying, give me the third one. Inside of the third one, there is a button called submit. And that's why it didn't work. So
anytime it doesn't work, then we use the CSS selector and we copy the selector from there, right?
that is for, yeah, that is something that you can try. But what they did, I can show you. I should have like looked at this first, right? So I can show you what happened, right? This is not in our control. This is in developers, the way that they develop this, right? So if you go into this, let me show you. Sometime you'll probably have, you'll have to kind of like investigate this kind of things and understand why this is happening. So the reason why it didn't work is because there is a form, separate form, and the form name is user. So this is a separate component. This is a parent component. This component contains all 3 element: username, password, and login. Okay. And then inside of username and all of that, there is 3 more items, right? Sorry, 3. Okay, these are the 3 items. Inside of that, there is an element called P, and inside of the P, there is a input field. Input is not a button, but anyway, so they have put an input inside of it, and then they said, okay, here is the thing. So that's one of the reason why Selenium was not able to locate it, because simply if you tell it find it by name and this, it doesn't know where it is because it's inside of another form. So anytime you see a form, and this should be a wake-up call, or at least this should be something that you guys remember. Anytime if something doesn't work, go up the letter, think like this is a letter, go up the letter and see if there is something that says form. Then you know what happened there. You have to include this guy, the form ID and other things. And then aside from form, there's other stuff, like for example, iframe. So iframe and form will have similar situation. So if you go up the letter and you see iframe, then same problem. You cannot access the element unless you mention the form also. So just like that, we mentioned the username, which is the ID, and then how
Yeah,
many.
can you please show the iframe again, please?
So this is not the iframe, but this is the form I'm talking about. But but the iframe will have a similar structure, right? So let's say for any reason it's not working, the first thing you want to see and go up the ladder. So this is your element and it's not working. So you want to go up the ladder and you want to see if there's anywhere it says, and you have to make sure this is the parent one. How do you know this is the parent one? Notice the open, and inside of that, look at the space, right? That is one way you will know that this tree is inside of it. And the other way you will know if that this tree is inside of it or not, if you just go into here, as you can see, it's highlighting what's the area that this one is belong to, right? So similar to that, if you have an iframe and if you go and highlight, it will tell you what areas that you cannot access unless you mention the parent. It's like you cannot go to a property without going through like let's say gated community, right? Let's say there's 5 houses and there is a single gate. When you want to access the 5 house, this is your friend house right here. You want to go in here. First, you have to go to the gate. Okay, and then only then you can go in here. Okay. So same thing for iframe also. So they will say, okay, how do you handle iframe? That's the interview question. So handle okay, I'm gonna type this in here. If it's loading slow. Handle iframe in Selenium. And notice, like, I don't write like how to do this and I don't do that because, you know, we're talking to a machine, which is Google. It doesn't care about if you say how to or how not to. As long as you have the right keyword, it'll work. So just get the hang of Googling things in a way that you get the right items for yourself, especially when you are automating. So how do you handle a iframe? And it will probably tell you there's an ID of the iframe. So remember the ID we got, and you'll have to mention that as parent, right? So that's exactly what we did. This is the parent, and inside there's child, and then inside there is this element. Okay, and the easiest thing you can do, just right click, copy, and then go from there. But then, you know, the whole explanation is because sometime when you right click and copy, it will also not work because this guy doesn't have a maybe it doesn't have anything to use. So in this case, we have type is equal to submit. Maybe it doesn't have anything when you write the automated test. So then you're gonna need to know exactly why that is happening. So if this one didn't have it, then you can say, I want to get the child. You, as long as you did something like this input, and I can bet you this is gonna work too, without even mentioning what's in it. So all right, that's good. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you so much. And just, I promise one more
Yeah.
little problem.
Go ahead.
So this one is done. I did another one. Let me just go get rid of this. Oh, sorry, this is the same one.
If your computer has like, let's say 8 GB memory and you have like 3-4, you know, IDE open, your computer is going to be slow because these IDEs is pretty heavy on the computer. But if your computer is like 16 GB memory, then you should be fine.
So let's say if I cross out this folder, right? So how do we find the project? I have a problem in that too.
Okay, so you can cross it out and I can show you where to find it.
This one?
Yeah. And then even if you cross out everything and then reopen, so like click there.
I'll cross it out.
Okay.
And this is So this is what
This is one, right? So you can do file, and the next thing you need to
file.
do, yeah, click on file, recent projects.
Open recent.
Yeah, and then now you have all of your projects.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's one way. When you click on it, there is another thing you have to do. Just click on any of the project you would like to open. Okay, and then don't do this window because then it'll combine, it'll basically put it in the same window. It is going to combine both. So just do new window.
New window.
Yeah, it doesn't combine the folders. It's just basically showing in the same. So it's just looks confusing, but technically it's fine. Okay, so it'll open up another window for you when the computer is ready. All right, anything else?
Oh, I think it did. Oh, yeah, I have to show you the project, the
Mhm.
other project. Just 1 second. So I think it was second one. Yeah, this one. So this one, I'm just going to run real quick.
Mhm.
Okay, so it did run, and then you see how the ID is here,
Which ID?
the abcd@gmail.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so the second one, the password is not working.
Oh, okay. So let's look at the line on your password. The first thing I would say is, okay, so let's look at the error message. It says no such an element, unable to locate. Okay, so let's see. So nowadays Selenium gives you a little bit more in terms of what is not working, right? Before it used to just say it's not finding and that's it. So now it tells you what it is actually. So you used CSS selector somewhere and you said the selector is equal to this thing, name, password. So the selector is the problem. The locator is the problem.
Yeah, I know. I struggled with the selector. So
Okay, no, that's fine. And so now we know the problem, right? So now the next thing is you have to where is this? Are we in the right place? Okay, we're login, enter validate the name and password. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do Control B there. And you here you say name is password, right? So I want to see if that is the truth. Inspect, and I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. All right, your computer is loading. All right, and then that. And then I click that. Okay, so that's the input. So notice what you have is that you have, and I know it's what you did wrong, but you got an ID and you got a name. I think your priority needs to be different, right? The priority should be, if I see an ID, then I will use that first before the name, because technically what happens is the name can belong, the same name can belong to 2 or 3 different elements, but the ID was meant to be unique and it's for per element, right? And sometime it's supposed to be, this is in a perfect world, right? But sometime what happens, the developers, they will have the same IDs for 2, but they're not supposed to do that. So when you do have 2 IDs, same ID, then that's when you cannot use ID. But other than that, ID should be your first choice because it's the simplest thing you can do. You know, XPath and CSS selector and other things, and becoming more clever with it is, it's only needed if that ID didn't work, right? So that was the XPath and CSS selector is because ID doesn't, not all the time it works, right? So that's why. Now, if you look at the ID, or for example, you're using name. So if you look at the name, notice anything different?
it's like only half pass.
No, not a half pass. No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, let me make this bigger. Maybe that's why you can see it. There's something else is different. So now look at the name and tell me what is different. This is
Oh, here
yours.
it should be
and-
ID.
No, so name, you can still use name, it's fine. I'm saying like ID should be the first choice, but it doesn't mean you cannot use name. So my question to you is, this is your value for
Oh,
the name.
is it going to be small? It's not going to be caps lock. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
So that's why you should probably copy and paste. So you see name, you just copy this guy, Control C, and then you do Control V there, and then you are good to go. If you run it, it should work. It says something unable to create a backup file. Oh, your computer doesn't have a lot of data. So yeah, so try to delete some stuff. Maybe anything that is not necessary, you can probably delete to make sure. 1, 2, 3, come on. What? Did it work?
No.
Okay. Find element by name. Okay, that's fine. This was the name actually. Unable to locate element with name. Then you use ID for this
ID.
guy. Yeah, so maybe the ID is gonna, name is not working. So let's do ID. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So like I said, you have to try more than one thing. If the ID is available, ID should be the first choice, to be honest. Like in a workplace, we're not learning, right? In a workplace. So what we do is that we have a priority. Like let's say you have ID, you have name, and you have XPath, and you have CSS selector. CSS selector and XPath will work 120%, right? All the time. They will work because they were designed to. The reason why CSS selector and XPath is something that we use is because ID and other things doesn't work. That's the last thing. Like we use those because nothing else works. But ID is the first one on the list. You want to try ID first. The second one may be name. The third one, sorry, the second one is actually class name. And then the third one is name, and name probably the last one, I would say, because like unless it's unique, right? Name you have to be careful with. You have to make sure it's unique because the developers can choose the same name for 3 different elements.
So how do we know that this is unique? Like,
Yeah, so let me show you that. And you'll have to do that all the time when you have your element. Second.
and how did you took the thing in the bottom, like
Okay, this
the
one.
elements?
So there is three
Mhm.
dots right here.
Yeah.
If you click on it and it gives you the, let me see, right there.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
yeah, I think your computer needs to be cleaned up. So
Yeah, I will do it.
yeah. All right, so you click on this thing right here, right? Whichever element you want to see, you click on it. And so for example, you don't know why, if the name is unique or not, right? You copy the whole thing, right click, copy, and then what you can do, Control find, and it'll open up a small window right here and it'll paste it
Oh, I
automatically.
see.
Okay. And then you put you're going to be basically putting a square bracket around it. So when you put a square bracket around this is okay. So remember, name is the attribute and this is your value, right? Once you put the a square bracket on both end, you just converted this thing into a CSS selector. You just made a CSS selector by yourself, customized it. You
Mhm.
made a custom selector basically. So now once you did that and you see 1 of 1, that means this locator is belong to only one item in the whole page. And
So that's why it's in yellow.
yeah,
it's
already,
highlighted.
yeah. If you don't see highlighted, that means it's not working.
Yes, I got it now. That's a very good thing to know.
Yeah, so like let's say, what if you want to do the same thing for ID? For ID is different, right? For name is this, for any other thing is like that, you have to put square bracket. But if you do have an ID, you don't need to put a square bracket. You can just go ahead and put a hashtag. So ID, only for ID, you put a hashtag in front of it and it does the same thing. Now you just created a CSS selector. This is still a CSS selector now. But what if you have a class name, right? So
Mhm.
find a class name here. So this is the class, right? Input, form input. So what you can do is that you copy this thing and you can test if the class name is unique or not, right? So right click, copy, and notice there is a space in between these two class name, and I didn't copy the other one because when you have a class and you have a space, that means this one is one name class and this is another one. The space is used to separate out different class, right? So now I'll take that and I'll paste it and I'll put a dot in front of it, and that will show if this is unique or not, right? So notice this is not unique. This class name belongs to item in here, right? And if you enter, it will iterate through both of them. So
Okay.
this is 3 things you should know.
So this yellow thing is actually, we need to focus on the, you see the sign in and the password, which is highlighted both together. That means it's not unique.
Yep, that's it. And I think the easiest thing to do is look at the number. Two up
Okay,
to.
number. Okay, so it's not unique. Yeah, right.
It has to be one of a kind. So, all right. With that, I think anybody else with Selenium or automation related problem?
Julva, can I ask you something?
Sure.
For the Chrome driver, the way we, the path, can we just download a WebDriver manager from Maven and paste it in Palm and use that only one line to cover that whole set property and everything?
Yeah, definitely you can. This is actually something later. So the WebDriver manager actually was created. So think about this way, right? What you're doing is that you're saying, I would like another library. You know how you have Selenium and then you had Cucumber to implement BDD?
Yes.
So same thing, somebody else or a developer says, oh, I don't like the path and all that stuff. I don't like downloading myself. I'm going to create a library that will do automatically all of these things. So then somebody goes and creates a WebDriver manager.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be able to use it, right? So that's like the power of open source. Anything that you need for your framework, you'll be able to use it. So if this solves your issue or if this helps you in your team.
It did, because for my Windows, I have so much problem, and with this, it's way easier for me to solve it.
Right. So at work, you're going to see most of the people are going to be using this because nobody wants to like download and think about versions and things like that. But here we do it because then we know the mechanism. We know exactly how the driver works.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's definitely something that you can use.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I think there was some some resume related question or any other questions?
Yeah. Yes, I have a question about the resume related.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I share with you for you send it to me? Can I share with you right now?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
So can you see my screen here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Where? Yeah. I found that one of thing is that there is a gap between the experience of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show you.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I mentioned that because like this was a draft, right? So a lot of things we're gonna fix. For example, the dates.
This is not the issue, but actually I'm confused. Maybe we need to add something here for the gap minimization about between the 15 and 16. Look here, January 16, and here also September 15.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. So
no,
that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, let me explain for a second. This is a draft resume, right? And so what we didn't care about the dates or anything. We just simply go ahead and gave you guys a specific company with a specific projects. So now we are going to go through this resume. Few things that we didn't do that you need to do. One is the format, right? You have to make it look nice, right? Or you can look at the template. There are templates out there on your Word, and we can make it more. This is like plain resume.
Yes.
So the template you'll have to use to make it look more unique, so it stands out. And the second thing we're going to do is that we're going to get a new email and a new phone number. And the third thing we're going to do, we're going to review the dates to make sure it makes sense. And so that's something that we're going to do it. But for now, the reason why we shared the resume is because then you can already have this on your hand, so you can work on the framework format, make it look nice. You can create a LinkedIn, make it look nice. But I think the date needs to be fixed before you create the LinkedIn. So let me know if you create it, then I'll give you the right dates. And then what else? What else you need to do? Yeah, and then you get familiar with the company and the project, right? So you're gonna be looking at the company. You may want to go and do some research onto their applications, how things are. And the summary script is something that I'll give it to you guys. Just make sure that once you guys finish with the formatting and reviewing the resume, the next thing I want to give you guys is the summary script. The summary script is going to show, and I think I shared with you guys, right, on WhatsApp how it is. That summary script is for, like, let's say one person, right, where the company matchups, the company mentioned in the summary is based on their resume. So you're going to get the same similar summary with things that matches from your own resume. So you can answer question like, tell me about yourself and other things. You're going to need, like, you guys specifically.
This is a sample for everybody right now.
Yeah, no. So this is your own sample, meaning I'm going to take this, and so you're going to take this and you're going to fix it, right? You're going to fix the format. You're going to put your name in there. You're going to put your new email and everything. I think I shared what needs to be done next, right? And then the dates I can correct. So I know the date is not correct for all of you guys that got the resume, right? The date is something that it has to make sense from the beginning to end. So everybody should have 6+ years of experience. And one of the reason I'll just explain to you why I'm putting 6 is because if you put 3, your resume is not going to reach to anybody, because everybody else is doing the same. So it's not going to be, you guys will not have a chance, right? Because everybody else is literally putting 6, 7, 8 years, right, on the resume, even if they don't have it. So unfortunately, we'll have to do the same thing.
For 6 years, our interview will be difficult, right?
It's not gonna be difficult. The thing is, if it's not 6 years, it will be more difficult. Think about that way, and I'll tell you why. Right, when you take an interview with more experience, the interview is taken by a manager, and they're generally nice people, right? And when you take an interview for a junior role with 2 or 3 years of experience, that's taken by a senior guy, and he's just maybe on his way to become a manager, and he wants to do everything the right way, or everything a nitpicky way, whatever it is. So he will be as rough as it can be, but that's not the reason. The thing is that all of you guys, when you guys set up an interview, imagine this is your screen. So this is Hasina's screen, right?
Yes.
So let's imagine she's on an interview right now, and the interviewer asks her a question. So let's say, and okay, your computer is not fast enough to do anything, but we may end up have to buy some computers, because if you want help on an interview, so imagine like the interviewer is looking at you, the camera is on and everything, and this is your screen. Here I'm typing, like now, if you see my mouse moving around, now here I have a notepad, I'm just typing the answers for you, right? So that's one kind of help that I'm gonna try to give you guys to make sure that you at least, this is like a reminder, like this is okay. So they ask you in Selenium, how do I handle iframe? Boom, I'm typing it, I handle iframe by this, right? These are the steps. And you just tell them exactly what you see on your screen, to remind you, because not everything, even if
like we just have to pretend, right? You
Exactly.
working on the a bag, but we have to pretend we are touching keypad or we are telling like that, right?
And basically, this is one way we can get our foot on the door sooner than later. And you get some, this is like a boost for yourself, like you basically get the help with the technical side. This is the kind of help that you'll get to make sure that you pass the interview. But non-technical interview, I will expect you to be able to pass, right? So what is non-technical interview? Interview question is that, tell me.
Excuse
there
me,
is-
Sir Joel. Sorry to interrupt. I just have a quick question because
Mhm.
are you gonna help us on the computer?
Yeah,
Don't they gonna read your face expression? You know, when you read something on the
yeah. So you'll have to get used to this, right? When the interview starts, as soon as the interview starts, you're gonna be like, your face is gonna be straight on that monitor, and you're gonna be, you know, every time you read something, you're gonna just basically, you have to kind of get that natural, you'll get the hang of it, right? Everybody gets the hang of it. It's definitely, it's not a normal thing, but once you do one or two interview, you'll be getting the hang of it.
Are we
Yeah,
gonna do
I
that
think
practice
so,
on the
yeah.
mock interview?
On the mock interview, we can give you guys, maybe like before the interview, I can give you like half an hour training, or
Okay.
maybe like an hour training before the interview starts, so you get some comfort, you know.
Okay, thank
Um,
you so much.
I need
yeah.
more, Bhaiya.
Yeah, but the
Only
thing
half an
is,
hour.
yeah, but the thing is, I'm gonna mention one thing, is that your computer has to be like fast, because I'm gonna be like, trust me, before they even finish a question, your answer is gonna be on your screen, ready to go. But you have to have a fast computer. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
ask.
And
Yeah.
Bhaiya, here is the, I'm not talking about the technical question. I'm talking
Mhm.
about the behavior and the
Mhm.
personal question. For example, they are asking me, oh, what about yourself? Then that time I need to explain my experience. So is
Right.
this the explanation look like summary? I need to know.
No, but so there is another document that I share, right? Everybody will get a
A script.
summary script where it shows like, one, tell me about yourself for a recruiter. So if the recruiter asks you something like, tell me about yourself, there is a smaller answer for that. If the manager asks you a question, tell me about yourself, there's a bigger answer. Like, you basically go over your resume, you tell them what kind of tools you use and how many years of experience and all of that. So if you go back to the chat on WhatsApp, I did share. The reason why I shared is because I wanted you guys to have it early, but each of you guys will have your own soon. That is, the one that I shared is somebody else's based on their resume, but everybody will have their own summary. And that summary document is going to stay with you for pretty much as long as you will want to have this career. Meaning, if you want to change a job, you're going to have to look at the same summary script. Maybe you'll update few things to make it better, right? The summary script, you're feel free to update. This is for you, personal use. So you can change the wording. If one word looks hard for you to say, just change it to something, less difficult for you to say. But in the resume, I would say make sure that you don't change words, but you do change the format. And also make sure the resume is efficient, meaning you don't have like empty spaces. Try to avoid empty spaces. Try to make it look more compact, and make it look more professional. So I would say look at the professional templates online. And then there are a lot of free templates for resume online. You want to get one of those, and then you can just follow the templates, copy from this resume, and then start to fill into the new template and make it look nice. The reason why I ask this is because if I did all of them with one template, now the recruiters will know, like, okay, how come like 20 resumes out there with the same template, right? So everybody can work on their template and make it unique. And the reason why Syed got a job before everybody else, because a few other people are also in the market, right? From your team, from your class. And they still, obviously they're in the process of getting a job. They're going to set up more interviews. But the reason why Syed started getting so many interviews on his second week is because his resume stand out. He took the resume, and then he just used a nice template, and he did lesson. He basically compacted to make it look more professional. So I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to help. If somebody needs help with fixing up the template, maybe you can reach out to him, and if he has time, he can help you guys. But I would say if you just look into online, if you let me see if I can click on that.
Oh, Joel bhai, Syed is Haidar, right?
Yeah, hi there.
Oh,
Yeah,
we are confused about that.
yeah. He got a full-time job, and he's making over 100, right? So and then I could have easily increased his salary, but I said, okay, let's not push it too much. Usually what I do once you get an offer, let's say you got an offer for 95 because you could have negotiated better. Like some of you guys will not be able to negotiate better, right? And I'm looking at the job description and I can tell, okay, this is not a $95,000 job. What I will do then, I will make you call them back after you get an offer and tell them like, I'm so sorry, I would not be able to take it for 95,000 because I got another offer for 120, right? And then they will then compete. They will then say, okay, what if I give you the 120? Would you take it? And then like, yeah, sure, not a problem. And you can just say, I'll be able to take it even if you give me 110 because I really like this job. I don't know, I don't care too much about the money, but it's significantly low compared to the other one. So that's one way for you to get higher salary, even if you had a bad negotiation in the beginning. But the other way to do it is basically you tell them something like during the interview, after the interview, you tell them like, oh, after I finish the interview, I realized there is a lot of responsibility, it involves this and that or whatever. So I don't think I'm okay with the 95K. 95,000 is not going to be enough for me for that. Now the recruiter may say, oh, Mavish, you're changing your mind now. How can you? This is so bad. You're going to say, listen, I obviously, obviously, no, nobody will say that, but there are some recruiters, they will say something like this. But if they do say it, you're going to say, I'm so sorry, but I have few other opportunities lined up. If you do want me to take the position, if you can make slightly higher, then I will go ahead and go commit to this one. Otherwise, I think 95 is very low. Do you want to talk to your manager and come back to me in a couple of days? So you want to give them time. The negotiation should be always give them time and say, okay, do you want to come back maybe in like next couple hours? Why don't you spend a couple hours talking to your manager and come back to me? They will always come back and give you at least something instead of nothing. They will say, okay, you know what? I can't do the 10,000. I can do 5,000. And
It's
then
like, Joel, but we have to talk with a professional way, right?
Yes, so when you start, like obviously you're gonna use your script. Try to use the script as much as possible when you talk to them, so you're gonna appear to be more professional. And when you talk to them, you just make sure that you don't. I would say be as professional as you can be, right? You don't have to tell them personal stuff. You don't have to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, but I don't have this or I don't have that, or if you don't know something, it's like, oh, well, I did hear about that tool and I think I had a brief experience on that a while ago. I don't have that right now in my current project. I'm not using it, so I'll have to look on to that, or I will have to look into that. In the interview, for any reason, you don't have an answer, or you can just say, I'm so sorry, but right now I'm blanking out. You want to come back to this question, or I can come back to this question later. So you can just basically say it instead of saying, and then just stay quiet for like 2-3 minutes. If I'm there, then you will have the answer, right? I'll try to deliver the answer by any means. But if it's like personal question, how do you handle a difficult coworker? That answer anybody can give. It doesn't have to be somebody who works in IT. Okay, so if you work in your current job, whatever job you're doing right now, and if you have a difficult coworker, just imagine how you will handle professionally. You want to make yourself look like you are the bigger person. You want to make yourself look like you are really, really communicative, and you're not creating issues. Instead, you're just solving the issue. So you just present it that way. So you're going to say, well, I realize he has some problems. I realize he's not talking to me after such and such. So I decided to open up and ask him questions and to make sure that he he's able to communicate properly without keeping anything inside. And I also explained to me why I did such thing. The reason why he was upset, I explained to him the reason, and it wasn't personal. And then after that, he did agree and he was fine. That's it. So something like that. You want to come up with the instant stories. Like, for example, oh, tell me about a change at work that you felt like you weren't ready, but the change came in. So then you can say, well, when the COVID hit and they asked us to work from home, I wasn't ready for that change. I was home and I just didn't feel right. I felt like I was missing communication. I was missing a lot of instruction that I would normally get from my coworkers. But then I quickly realized this is going to last a while. So I decided to be efficient with what I was doing. And because I was working from home, I ended up working 3, 4, 5 hours extra sometimes. I didn't realize when to stop. So then I realized this is going to be for next couple of years. So why not, come up with a strategy and put a plan in place. So I had my schedule for the whole day. I would write it in a, I would have my alarm on my phone when to finish work and when to actually go out and enjoy the outside, but also when to go to the gym. I would have a set schedule for myself, and this actually helped me to continue to work without having a problem mentally, right? So something like that. You just want to come up with a story to make yourself look like, oh, you just kind of did something that changed the way that you or somebody else, benefited pretty much. All right, with that said, guys, it's already 10:21. When I give you guys summary script, obviously just ask for it also. Like if you need it early, then ask for it. I will have to sit down. If you need it early, I'm going to sit down with you just one-on-one. And then I'm going to look at your resume. I'm going to read it. Then I'm going to create it, right? That's the way it is, right? So it may take half an hour and a little bit more if I do some copy pasting. But if you need it early, let me know. And I'm going to probably work on the summary tomorrow. And at least I'm going to deliver the summary script to those who's going to go on the market this Monday morning. Some of you guys will. So yeah, with that said, I'll talk to you guys the next class. I will do the next class with you guys to make sure that we're covering more automation. Moving forward, it will be only automation. Unless you guys want to, if you guys want to do any manual testing or anything like that, you can join the other class. We have Saturday and Tuesday. But your class is only going to do automation at this point, because everything else that we did manual is fine. We want to focus on automation now to make sure that you get more and more ability to automate. All right, with that said, guys, so I'll see you guys
Cool.
next time.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.